11th of May.
40,000 since the 11th of May.
And a ticket to Aruba on the second chance. Well done. And branch director. So I've brought it down.
It's not Queenslandish.
Oh,
Where's
I live in Mariba, which is
it
an
in
hour
is
from
it in here?
Cairns.
Is it
It's
in
all
here?
in here.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
You'll have to
sorry.
wait.
I'll tell you all about it.
Sorry.
So I wanted her to come down, and she's a really busy lady. So she's come down this afternoon at 3 o'clock and going back home when?
Tomorrow morning about 9 o'clock.
With probably no shopping time in between. No. So I really appreciate you spending your time to come and share with us. So please welcome her.
I've got a bit of talking in between the slides, so I'll just give you a heads up.
Just,
right here.
or you can do what everyone else does. Hurry up, John.
Come on. And I've had to break out the glasses, so I'm showing my age tonight.
At least you
But
got yours.
Okay, when I started with Park Lane, I joined primarily for the jewellery. I love jewellery. My thing is always having the best necklace or the matching statement piece that everybody commented on in my town. I actually found out about Park Lane through a friend in Brisbane that was having a party. I told her I'd love to have a jewellery party, and she put me in touch with Naomi. I asked lots of questions. Naomi was patient and she answered everything I asked. So I ordered my kit. That was in late April. I didn't have my launch party until the 11th of May. Silly me. I should have had it like straight away. When I started, I talked to everybody I knew about the idea of starting in a party plan business. I figured they may have had some tips for me. I've never ever been involved in selling anything before or ever been involved in a party plan business. A number of my friends said this is the perfect fit for me, and I think they may have been right. A very good friend of mine who I've worked with before said, Tanya, just do what you always do, run it like a business. Who would have thought at 40 I would find my calling, a job I was meant to do, the one that was exactly right for me. I quickly learned when I started that you get out of Park Lane businesses exactly what you put into them. I spent nights reading. I learnt the catalogue. I rope-learnt the catalogue. I laid in bed and read the catalogue beside my husband, who thought I was kind of going a little bit strange. I wanted to know all the products by name. I tested myself to try and work out what they were. I watched every YouTube video I could, and I researched what other fashion directors were doing around me. In the beginning, I used cards on my rollers, on my jewellery rollers. And to make them look a bit flash, I used black card and just wrote on them in pencil so no one else could see that it was actually cheating. Put a hole on them, strung them onto the ribbon and rolled them up. I had all the names on there and I had all the prices on there. I only had to do that for about 2 parties. Sorry if no one can see. And after that, I knew all the names. I communicated with Naomi regularly, so I knew all I could before I did my launch party. I set up my launch and I made sure I had 3 ladies that were ready to book a party. I also decided I'd place an order to expand my kit. Remember, I'm a long way away from Naomi, over 2,000 kilometres, but I always felt supportive and she was always just a phone call or a message away. From there, I filled my diary. I worked every possible day I could. If a hostess wanted a party on that date, I made myself available. I even doubled up on dates where I could, so I was doing morning and afternoons. One of my early parties was a friend of mine. I asked her to invite business people I did not know. And just like that, I was out of my circle. I wasn't annoying family and friends with regards to buying the jewellery. In fact, early on, I set myself a goal. I would try and get out of my family, friends circle as soon as I possibly could. I also set goals. A goal without a plan is just a wish. I wanted a designer outfit in my first month, so I set my sights on a $5,000 goal for the month of May. I did 6,352. June, I set myself a goal of 10,000. I actually thought I could go close, but I didn't know if I'd make it. I had good parties early on in the month. I worked some weeknights. I offered incentives for ladies to book on them. I used my HRCs very wisely. It was also during June I decided I would offer catalogue parties. I figured if they were successful, great, and if they weren't, I hadn't wasted a lot of my time on them. A couple of them resulted in $1,000 plus parties. And from these catalogues, I found out who I knew that would be able to sell the jewellery and might be interested in doing what I did. And I set my sights on recruiting them. This is how I signed Linda Bale in Mount Isa and Sandra McLaughlin in Cairns. June was an amazing month for me. I did 12,636. Woo! Thank you. I then set my sights on finding some recruits. In hindsight, I should have done this earlier. And this is now what I'm focusing on with my recruits. And Sandra McLaughlin has already signed a recruit in the first couple of weeks of being a fashion director. It was then I discovered I could potentially get myself to Aruba on the Aruba Again competition. Everybody was cheering me on. Sandra, Rebel, Naomi. I couldn't let them down, but most of all, I wasn't going to miss out on the opportunity. Next goal set, and I worked my way through getting my recruits qualified and getting the sales that I needed, and it was hard. I qualified for Aruba, but it was tight, and there were times when I thought that maybe I wouldn't make it, but I was going to give it everything. July sales were 13,378. I started getting messages from fashion directors all over, asking what I was doing differently and how I was getting the sales I was.
Including from me.
Naomi, everybody. Almost all my parties were over $1,000, and I investigated what I might have been doing differently. From the very beginning, I made the decision I would spend a percentage of my income from the jewellery on the jewellery. After all, it's 30% off. I would have the latest piece in my kit, and I made sure right from the outset I would have the higher end pieces in my kit. So I'll just run through this slide. So know your product, it's really important. Know the name of your product. In fact, a lot of the ladies love it when they say, oh, I like this one, and I can tell them exactly what it is and the next piece that they're picking up. Have some of the jewellery rollers set up with the 30 to 59, the 60 to 89, and the $90 plus, and what they could potentially get in that jewellery roller to show them the value for money that you're going to provide at the party. Have the higher end pieces in your kit and wear them to your jewellery showing. Next one, John. Do not be scared to reinvest in your business. Every piece of jewellery I buy becomes a tax deduction. It's part of my kit. I wear it, and I have a lot of jewellery, and because I now have ladies that have been to 3 or 4 of my parties, I make sure I have different jewellery at those parties so those ladies are not seeing the same jewellery each time I go. Making it a new experience is really important. A customer will quite happily buy a pair of earrings from a person without seeing them in person, but they will not purchase a $400 or $500 bracelet unless they've put it on, tried it on, and fell in love with it. So I guess that is my tip number 1. Always bring a higher end piece or pieces to your parties. Tip 2, I also found if I paired the necklaces together like they did in the catalogue, I sold both the items, not just one. Granted, one would be $14, but then the customer was overjoyed to get the second one on the customer bonus sale. I also upsold to as many ladies as I could to get them over the $90 and take advantage of the 3 $14 items. So not only was I making sure my retail sales were high for each customer, but the customer was also winning by getting the extra items on the customer bonus sale. I would show them on every order how much money they saved. Some of them were saving more money than they spent, and they absolutely loved that. Next one, John. People will never forget how you made them feel. It's all about the experience. It's what you bring to the party. It's the relationship that you form with the customer. I also decided early on I would use the wish list and have them write down everything they wanted and try and get the most amount of the items on their list, budget allowing. I would sit with each lady individually and I'd work through their list, taking my time to make sure I could get them the most items for the best deal and also make it the best experience for them. Sometimes it was much more inexpensive to collectively put a number of items at the top of the order and get the more expensive piece for the $14. But still, the retail section of my order was over $90. And the customer thought they were really winning because they're getting such an expensive piece for $14. One lady at one of my jewellery showings sat on her own and told me when she walked into the room she didn't buy or wear much jewellery. Everyone had one of those ladies at their party? Yes. When it came time to order, I sat with her away from the group. We talked about why she didn't wear jewellery and she said to me, she didn't mind bracelets. I had my in. I asked her if there's any that caught her eye and she told me she liked the Just Imagine and the angel bracelet. And I explained to her if she purchased the Just Imagine, the angel bracelet would be just $14. And she could also choose another piece, which she did, the Imagine bracelet. So a lady that was buying nothing just spent $110. It was the way in which that I sat with her, I listened to her, I made the experience a comfortable one for her as to why I sold her the jewellery. Through working with my customers, I have built trust. That trust has meant word of mouth. There is nothing more valuable in your business than word of mouth advertising, especially if you live in a regional area or a smaller town like I live in. Next one, John. Advertising, most important thing. Wear the jewellery. Always look styled. Talk about the product. Pay for advertising on Facebook or the local paper, but make sure you're targeting the market you want. If it isn't working, check out how someone else does it. Make yourself known. Get testimonials. Get people to put them on your Facebook page. I am the go-to girl for Park Lane and Mareeba. Others may start here, but I've established regular, repeat clientele. They casually phone me and ask to put in an order. Because I often have one open under my name that qualifies as a party, I reap the hostess rewards and have those in my kit. Those items and the thank you gifts are a must for your kit. You want to show the ladies what they're missing out on. They need the masquerade necklace, for example, so they agree to host a showing just so they can get that piece. Next one. Play dress up at your parties. I arrive at a party 30 minutes beforehand and I'm always dressed up. I have clean, freshly done nails. I wear the latest catalogue piece. Depending on what I wear, sometimes mean I'll sell a lot more of that piece at my parties. Remember, Park Lane is fun. Make the jewellery showing fun. I often have a fashion parade of sorts and take photos, of course with the ladies' permission, of them wearing the jewellery. It's a great way for them to see instantly what they'll look like wearing it. And I always have a mirror on my table so they can have a look at it as well. I also encourage them to take pictures of what they receive when it arrives, all set out on their kitchen bench, and then post that onto their Facebook page. That attracts others to hold a showing. After all, if their friend got all that jewellery, they want it too. If you're slow to start and you started for the $43 option, of course you will be slower to get going and reap the rewards than if you purchase the standard or presidential kit. Let's face it, if you're serious about this business, you're going to invest $219 or $700 to get your kit. I paid for mine in a week and a half. I don't know any other business that you can do that in. You need to purchase and make up business cards. Ladies need to know you're there, and they also need to know that it won't be a big deal to host a party. I have done jewellery showings in a coffee shop, a pub and a restaurant. I showed pictures of these on my Facebook page and told ladies if they didn't want to use their own homes, they didn't have to. I have another one this coming Sunday and it's at a cafe as well. Since I started, I've only had 2 parties rescheduled. Both I immediately booked into another date that suited them. I then offer an incentive to fill the spot. This doesn't always work, but I'll say that that's the nature of the business. Keep changing it up. Do what's working, ditch what's not. It has to work for you, and that's what I love about Park Lane. It's your business. Do what works for you. Next one. Use the jewellery showing off some styling tips, like the one I shared during doing up the bracelets with the paperclip. If you don't know any tips, research them online. They're heaps available. And one blog I found called Daily Glam actually used Park Lane Jewellery. I'm aiming in the future to set up different necklines and use my own pieces to show what necklaces work best with each neckline. So this is one that I've researched in America through another Park Lane director, and that one's using some of the pieces, and you'll see some of them are the new pieces as well. So I use that at my parties as well. The next one, John. I also demonstrate the magnetic sets wrapped together, like the ivy and the exposure. I do this one with ladies coming up, and I do the different ways the necklaces can be worn, and there are heaps of options. I use the 4 square, I use the freestyle necklace, I use the Imagine. There would be very few parties when I haven't sold a set. So 152 retail, they get the bracelet for $14. Often they get the second necklace for $14 and the second bracelet. They go away very happy, and my retail sales are high. Next one. Follow up. If you say you're going to do something for a customer, do it. Be honest. Have a variety of product in your kit. And don't just have your taste. Think about the group of women you're showing to. They may not be purchasing for themselves. They might be purchasing for their granddaughters, their daughters, their mothers, their grandmothers. So, or even a male in the family. So make sure your kit is reflective of that, and it has pieces that will suit every age group. I always have regular communication with my hostess leading up to a showing. If deals change, if she can get some outside bookings, I use the HRCs. That way, if 2 or 3 ladies cancel on her at the last minute, she will still get 10 orders. That's what I aim for at every party. If someone has a problem with the jewellery, it's broken, tarnished, or it's bigger than they thought it would be when it arrives, I collect it and send it back. I pride myself on making sure the customer is happy. At the end of the day, it costs postage, but once again, it instills trust in my customers that if they have a problem with it, I will fix it. And for me, it's a tax deduction. If I have an unhappy customer, like the jewellery arrived broken, I purchase something myself, or I give them a gift to turn the negative experience into a positive one. One of my customers had earrings arrive broken not once, but twice. I actually purchased a different item for her, and as a result of that experience, she actually ran a catalogue party for me and sold $600 worth of jewellery. If I'd have done nothing, nothing would have happened from that. Great service makes for repeat business and great advertising. Next one, John. Opportunity. Take every single one. Do physical parties. Fill up your diary. If you want to get my sales, you need to work any day that your hostess wants, not necessarily the day that you can. Move your life around to suit your hostess if you want those sales. Do the Franks list and keep a record of your customers and hostesses. So when the new catalogue comes out, you have a list of people you can call and say, I've got a new catalogue, would you like to have another party? Make sure you look after your best clients. Catalogue parties can be really valuable, and they are little to no work. The weeks when I've done as many sales as some fashion directors do in a month are when I've had a couple of catalogue parties on the go. Have the catalogues and order forms with you at all times. They're in my car, they're in my handbag, they're in my work bag, they're everywhere, they're all over my house. My 2 daughters have them in their rooms with circular things inside. If someone asks you for a catalogue, give it out. Honestly, it's $2, but they might order something worth $100. Thoroughly explain the customer bonus sale to them though, because they will not understand it unless they know that. I use a letter stapled to the front, and I follow up if I've handed one out. I'll also give them a link to their party almost immediately. I'll go home and do it straight away and text it, because then they feel obligated that they need to get the orders, and I give them a date that it must be back by. Generally, catalogues, I let them go for 2 weeks, so that just gives them enough time to get the orders. I have set up at businesses in their lunch hour, and I've taken orders and bookings that way. I've done it at the daycare I work in. Once again, take every opportunity to show the product. It's beautiful. It'll sell itself, but you need to show it to them. Location and community. Hairdressers, get them to keep a catalogue and some cards. Have them host a party for their clients. Set up at your local netball club on a Saturday. There's 200 plus mums just standing around doing nothing for a couple of hours. Or soccer, or whatever sport your kids play. Have the club host the party and raffle the hostess reward pieces for the club. Network with other business people to get out of your circle. Join a chamber of commerce or sponsor a meeting if you have to. Travel to showings. I travel all over the tablelands. Some of my parties are up to 2 hours away. I've travelled on the weekend to Brisbane to do a party. So you travel where you need to go. Support a local charity. Give them your commission from that part. It will pay you back tenfold. I donated all of my commission to Starlight Foundation at one of my parties. Of course, I sold lots of jewellery that day, and it was for a local lady with a very sick little boy. That advertising alone has got me repeat business because people see that you're generous and you've done that, so they will go out of their way to do a booking. Next one, John. Learn from others. Ask questions and be informed. Spend time in your business every day. Plan and grow it, whether it be in Facebook posts, likes, or even just doing research and reading what others have done. This alone will help you keep your enthusiasm up and give you a purpose. Nobody will get your business off the ground, only you. I will say, read the questions in Gorgeous Gems or Rebels Team or your direct upline like Naomi. You will have the same question and then you're always learning because other people are asking it. Start your own team page when you get some recruits and share with them everything you do. But remember, if their drive is not yours or the reason they joined Park Lane is not your reason, they may not achieve the same results that you have. Really, I've never seen a company more motivating. The women in the group are amazing. I've had days when I've been down, usually when I thought a recruit was going to sign and they haven't. But tomorrow's always a better, brighter day. Usually I have a glass of wine and chat to Naomi very late at night on Facebook, sometimes Rebel, around the midnight time. And Naomi has been an amazing upline manager for me, never pushy, always supportive and always available. I aim to be that to my recruits.
Oh, yay, Notes.
I'm nearly there. Partner up with other businesses and other fashion directors. That includes other consultants all around the world, so in the US and Canada. I'm currently working with an Intimo consultant in my area and she is showing how Park Lane Jewellery can be used on her clothing. I have given her some of the Park Lane rings. She is using them at her parties and taking my cards with her. I'm teaming up with her to do a fashion parade for Melbourne Cup, which will have over 200 women in attendance. I'm also working with the Park Lane consultant in Canada, Tammy McEwen, and utilising some of her tips and picks with her permission. I guess the message here is find what works for you. Quite possibly you've already liked some fashion directors' pages in America. And if you start a relationship with them, I'm certain they will help you out. Not only that, but you'll get to meet them at convention or a holiday. How cool was that? Yeah, that's what I want to. Right, next one. Education, we've done that one. Next one. We're going backwards. John's going to sleep. Look. My future goals. My goal for this month is $15,000. Will I get there? I'm not sure, really. But I've done 3,919 in 1 week of this month. And I want 2 tickets to Paris or my husband's going to kill me for doing all these parties. And I want to motivate other women. That's what I want to do as well. I'm still setting goals and making plans to achieve them. Park Lane always gives you something to strive for, a new holiday, a new convention. Does it sound like you can do all of this? Some ladies think I can do it because I don't have children or my husband does all my housework. But I have 3 kids under 7. My 2 girls do dancing 30 minutes away in another town and compete in competition. My husband works out of the country, fly in and fly out in Papua New Guinea on a 2-week cycle. And I work another job. I'm a general manager of 2 daycares and an after-school facility. So am I busy? Absolutely. Do I need to find care for my kids when I go to a party? Absolutely. But my outlook is no excuses. I want to be successful and I will be. And if I'm struggling in an area, I will ask someone to help me. Last one. I hope you got something from my journey to take away with you. But remember, never compare your journey to somebody else. It's a journey, not a competition, and everybody's journey is different.